Most people, they see me as a finance professional, which I am, but I never desired to be in finance. I went to school because I wanted to be a woman in tech, and I was building computers from scratch since 9th grade. And
Crazy.
so I won world competitions, coming in 6th place, after Russia and Ukraine, doing things with community problem solving all throughout high school, went to college 2-3 times before graduating. And so I had already done so much with technology. And then in my last year of college, I started to get recruiting calls from banks. And I'm like, why are these banks calling me? Like, I already have a job. I'm already in a leadership position at 21 years old. And I made a deal with this one recruiter. I mean, Jennifer, if you're listening, God bless you, because it's because of you that put me on this path, And she just kept calling me. And I'm like, listen, that resume online was actually a part of a final project for college, because the online resume system just started to be created, like monster.com.
Sure.
So we had to learn how to put a resume online, So that was a project, but I learned how to put it online, never learned how to take it down. So I started getting all these phone calls from the bank. And then she was like, can you just please come in? And so I looked at the location. I'm like, actually, I could walk to your office. You're only 2 blocks. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take an hour lunch break. I'm going to come see you, but you're going to promise after I come talk to you, you're never going to call me again. Because it was to the point where we were talking almost every other day.
21 years old?
Yes, I am. Always. I was
talking about
like,
some audacity right here.
I'm like, I'm going to take an hour break. I'm going to leave my team, because at the time I had a team I was managing at a Jewish phone company, interestingly enough, doing technology there. And I'm going to walk down to this bank. We're going to have a conversation. You can check me off your list that you had the interview, and that's it. And I'm going to leave. Well, of course, when they got me there, they didn't let me go. So one interview goes to 2 interviews to 3 interviews, to the point where I'm meeting with the regional leader, and who happened to have his office at that site. And so we're talking, and I'm like, I'm so sorry to interrupt your flow conversation, but I'm already past an hour. I need to get back to my team. Are you guys going to make me an offer? Your assistant here is really good, Jennifer. She's actually was standing in the corner waving. I'm like, we talked like almost every week for the last few months, and I promised her I would come in so she could stop calling me. He's like, well, if I do have an offer for you. And the offer they made me was twice as much as what I was already making. I'm saying, well, I will take your offer, and I'll give you a call tomorrow. So as I'm walking back to my office, I'm like, so what am I going to do?
Yeah, that is fantastic.
So that's really how it happened, and Jennifer being super persistent. And it at the time, the fintech industry, it wasn't even being called fintech. They just knew, a lot of banks knew they had to start to transform and integrate more technology, right? The internet was booming.
Correct.
And this is, 2005, 2006 we're talking about. And so I came in to actually train bankers and the different managers on technology. They didn't know how to use the database, so I came in to teach them operations. And then I went from there and had 17 different roles within less than 10 years. I was the youngest officer of the bank in AVP at the point that ended up being co-chairperson for the bank for the state of New Jersey, all before the age of 24. So when I talk about the principles that I follow, every 6 months, if I wasn't getting promoted, I'm like, I'm leaving, going somewhere else. I was very impatient with myself, because I knew what I could do and how my performance could be in a given setting if I had all the resources. And at that time, it was just a great place to work as a young mother, young wife. All the resources were there for me, so it was up to me to take advantage of them and take access to them.
All right, so clearly you're, what we would call a superwoman, right? Because you just mentioned mother and wife. And you're talking 21 to 24 with this mindset. Okay, so let's rewind the tape at least just a little bit. Where does the mindset come from? Because I use the word audacity. We could say confidence. I've kind of become well aware that there's some benchmarks or key indicators for high level success. One of them is actually having a little bit of a superiority complex. One of them is having a clear sense of purpose. So what would you say added to your belief that all this was possible at such a young age?
Wow, it's probably both. Just with how I was raised, I was never told I couldn't do something. It was always, how are we going to do it? Is it feasible for our family? What support or resources do you need? And that's from my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family.
Wow.
And so the way I was raised, even when I think about the mentors I had, it's just amazing the way that my life has been cultivated. When I look back at that, it was with very much intention with my family.
Amazing.
And also I have a lot of elders in my family, a lot of aunts and uncles who are actually like my grand aunts and great uncles that were a part of my upbringing. and very much a community. So I had a lot of folks to be accountable to, but also folks that were no nonsense, but they were very much rewarding. So I knew that if I did this, rewards were there. And I was about getting those rewards, you know.